Uvish Orecha. Continue silently. Page 156. ויאמר אדוני משה לאמור דבר על בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ועשו להם ציצית כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בפיל תפילת והיה להם לציצית וראיתם אותו זכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטעו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם נמנים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותם אתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen. Continue on page 157. לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים וכיסא נכון ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת. דבריו חיים וקיימים, נאמנים ונכבדים, על אבותינו ואמותינו ועלינו, על בנינו ועל דורותינו ועל כל דורות ישראל עבדך. על הראשונים ועל האחרונים, דבר טוב וקיים לעולם ועד. אמת ואמונה חוק ולא יעבור. אמת שתהו אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, מלכנו מלך אבותינו ואמותינו, גואלנו גואל אבותינו ואמותינו, יוצרנו צור ישועתנו, עודנו ומצילנו מעולם שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך. עזרת אבותינו ואמותינו התוהו מעולם, מגן אישנו ובניהם. שבח משפטך וצדקך תעשה ארץ, אשרי איש שישמע למצוותיך ותורתך ודברך ישים על ליבו. אמת התוהו אדון לעמך ומלך גיבור לריב ריבון. אמת 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 התוהו ראשון, אמת 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 התוהו אחרון. ומבלעדיך אין לנו מלך, מלך גואל ומושיע. ומבלעדיך אין לנו מלך, מלך גואל ומושיע. Page 158. מצרים גאלתנו אדוני אלוהינו מבית עבדים פדיתנו כל בחוריהם הרגת ובהר הגאלת בים סוף בקעת. ויחסו מים שהחמל זאת שפכו אהובים אל ונדידים זמירות שירות ותשפחות ברכות. רם ונישא גדול ונורא משפיל גאים ומגביה שפלים מוציא אסירים ופוד ענבים ועוזר דלים. ועונה לי עמו בעת שבם אליו תהילות לאל עליון תהילות לאל עליון ברוך הוא ומבורך. משה ומרים ובני ישראל, משה ומרים ובני ישראל לך ענו שירה. בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. שירה חדשה, שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, וכתבך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. Baruch atah Adonai La'am Yisrael. Page 159. Baruch atah Adonai.
No, we don't have a minute.
Oh, right.
It's going to be silent.
We go where?
We'll just have to do a silent meeting.
Just silent?
Just a silent meeting.
Okay.
We only have 7.
Okay. How long have those lights been there?
I have no idea.
I never noticed
They're
them.
not inside. I mean, it can't be for the daytime. All right, so it seems to me that we have a decision to make because we are very few. I mean, I don't know, we usually we would have, the reference would be here. And Susan, I would presume would be on the stream was having trouble, so it's possible that people were on the stream. Get back. We have Harriet, and I think that is Marcia.
Yes, here.
Marcia, are you there?
Yes. Hello. Yes.
Someone's talking, but I computer's not working. I tell you, it's like.
That's why the tradition says, make it easy, people show up.
Right, I mean, yeah, I don't know, I mean, I guess, we were trying to be accommodating, I mean, I think the problem is that, I jumped the gun on those at the time, and everyone just put it in their heads, that it's every other week, and so probably even next week, people will be like, oh, it's a pillow, people will show up here, and then we'll be here.
The kids are downstairs.
Right. Well, the kids want to be up here today, I feel bad, but just come up here because we're not really using the space.
You have no way of doing it.
No, and I guess I always have this sort of hope and assumption that people will read the email, but I just feel like we're at a sort of inflection point. Is this going concern, or is this just not? Just we probably end it before it gets too sloppy.
It's very, very sad.
Yeah. But I mean, people just are not. So.
As always, people assume that.
Jim, I thought it was next week. I thought we were going to meet next week.
Things are.
It's not that way anymore. It's too many of us are old. Too many of us are not coming out.
Last, go to the. Last week, that we need to do that only for weekend. That there is a sign up list. And people sign up, they can sign up in person with Zoom. And if there isn't enough people each way, so that it makes sense to do a service, it's all, and it just goes, just call Friday.
There's Harriet.
Yeah, I wanted to say,
Harriet, you're talking,
I
but for some reason my speaker is not working, so I can't hear you. I'm not really
you can't hear me?
sure what's going on. Let's try this.
I thought it was
it's not
next
working
week.
either.
I thought we were meeting at Hillel next week.
Harry, can you say something?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, okay, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, well, I until this morning, I thought we were meeting at Hillel next week because we said every other week.
That appears to be the case with everybody, because I have been signaling since 2 weeks ago that we're gonna be meeting here.
I'm sorry, the sound is so poor, I can't hear what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, because I'm not pointing in the mic. What I'm saying is that I announced 2 weeks ago that we would be meeting here 2 weeks in a row. But I think people, when they hear every other week, they just think every other week, and there's no way to get around it. So.
Yeah, so I thought it was next week that we're
Yeah.
meeting at Hillel. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Next week we will be in Brookline. So.
Okay, so I think you should try again and just tell people, a couple of times. So are you going to continue?
I think I'm going to have to
meeting?
start calling people on the telephone, because otherwise I think it's just no one. All right, so we are now, let's see. All right, we still don't have a minion, so we'll have to read from the Chumash, and which is a pity, because it was not. All right. Oh,
So,
here they are. Wow. All right, so we're still not quite enough. We have a minion, but we'll have to make the best of it. We'll have to make sure. Hello, Irv. We have to make sure, Irv, that you stay on. Is Cindy here with you? Oh, he probably can't. So, just wondering if Sylvia is with you, Irv, but no big deal.
Yes.
All right, we hope. All right, so as long as everyone stays on the Zoom, we will have a minion. Wait, okay.
I'm glued to my chair.
All right. And yeah, I do think as a minion, we're gonna have to decide if we're gonna actually really meet, then like we really have to show up, because it's hard to preach to the converted who are here, but
yes. Well,
it's difficult to I don't mind being here and davening with one or two people, but not knowing if people are coming or not is really stressful.
Well, I'll stay on. I'm just turning off my video, but
actually, I'm going to ask the people on Zoom to. I'm going to ask you guys to mute. So, and let's see here. I don't want this to be I wanted this to be a live stream, not a Zoom session, but we're stuck. All right. Okay. Torah service.
I feel like I'm a member of the Secret Service.
You are. Okay. Well, I'm going to get rid of those. All right. All right, so we're on.
All right, we're on page 54. En kamocha ve'elohim Adonai ve'en kamasecha malchut malchut kol olamim u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'hador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai oz le'amohu yitzim Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom Aval rachamim Tiva v'tzon cha'et Sion Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim Ki b'cha levad batachnu Melech el ram v'nisab Adon olamim Vayikim Aaron vayom Moshe Kuma Adonai Utzulecha Yanusu misanecha mipanecha Ki mitzion titzei Torah Ki mitzion titzei Torah Dvar Yerushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Li'amo Yisrael Tikdushato. Page 56, Bereshit made my own number. Antu Shalit al Puta, the Lafi, Anna Rabda, the Puncha break was again. Page 58. V'lishmei kadisha yakira, v'navatu shtecha, v'anavatetz, v'lishmei kadisha yakira, v'navatu shtecha, v'hera kodama, v'tihitachli v'orecha, v'tachli mishvari ilivi, v'liva necholamach Yisrael, v'tavukai I can actually have Petra, if you're willing to be the Torah carrier. We have a small Torah. And we'll have Norma do Hagba. Shema Yisrael. Wait, it's a call and response. I'm sorry. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Shemo yachtav lecha Adonai hagidul hagivur v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod ki chol b'shamayim uva'aretz ki chol b'shamayim uva'aretz lecha Adonai hamam lecha yamit na'aseh lechol rosh Romenu Adonai Eloheinu V'ishtachavu L'hadom raglav kadoshu Romenu Adonai Eloheinu V'ishtachavu L'har kodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. All right, so in order to do this, everyone in this room is going to need to take an aliyah. So let's see. We have a Levi, right? Any other Levi's? No? Okay, and Lauren, I think we'll save you for the Haftarah. Is that okay with you, Maury, or did you want to do it?
No, it's
Okay.
all right.
So everyone else has to take an aliyah, even if you don't want to, you have to, sorry. It's just the way it is. Okay, would you be the Gabashini?
So Shabbat Shalom, we're starting at Bereshit, and we're beginning the third year of the cycle, so we're skipping
there's
all
one
the
right
good
there.
stuff of Parsha Bereshit, and we're starting chapter 5, verse 1, which is on page 30.
Yeah, page 30, and I'm looking for the,
What? Memories all went like clockwork. By Zerbia again, the Yeshiva Chochosi Bovanama, Amen.
Amen.
Akol Hovud Godel Elohim Nukavod Torah Yamod.
I am Yaakov ben Simcha Babacha.
Chaim Yaakov ben Tzibia Simcha Bebatia Halevi Minkom HaKohen Baruch Shenatan Torah Liamo Yisrael B'Kedushato.
V'yotem advikim b'Adonai Elohechem chayim kulchem hayom.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaVarach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Elam
Baruch Adonai HaVarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. זה ספר תולדות אדם ביום בראו אלוהים אדם בדמות אלוהים עשה אותו זכר נקבה בבראם ויברך אותם ויקרא את שמם אדם ביום הבראם ויהי אדם 30 שנה ויולד בדמותו כצלמו ויקרא את שמו שהד ויחיו ימי אדם אחרי הולידו את שהד 800 שנה ויולד בנים ובנות ויחיו כל ימי אדם אשר חי 900 שנה ו30 שנה וימות.
Happy note to end on. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. I mean, just focus on the 930 years, not on the inevitable end of that 930 years.
Normal. Ta'amod Nechama bat Yitzchak b'Yehudit Sheni.
Bereshit.
Top of page 31.
I think I would know it.
You might.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamara. Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayishet 5 שנים ומעט שנה ויולד את אנוש וישת אחרי הולידו. Oh my God, these people. All right, hold on, I'm sorry. Right, Vahi. Vayishet. What? Vayechi, okay. ויחשת אחרי הולידו את אנוש 7 שנים ו800 שנה ויולד בנים ובנות ויחיו כל ימי שת 12 שנה ו900 שנה וימות.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
We're on verse 8. Yeah, I took one. You took your step.
Just watch your step.
What's your first name? Oh, Ruth. Ta'amod Ruth bar Abraham v'Sara Shlishi.
Ahu et Adonai hamorach.
Baruch Adonai le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chabanu b'kol ha'amim v'na'atan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayechi enosh 5 shana. What? I'm in the wrong place. Thank you. I'm back at shape. That's what. Vayechi enosh 90 shana vayoled et Kenan. Vayechi enosh acharei holido et Kenan 15 shana ו800 שנה ויולד בנים ובנות ויחיו כל ימי אנוש 5 שנים ו900 שנה וימות. ויחי כנען 70 שנה ויולד את מחלאל. ויחי כנען אחרי הולידו את מחלאל 40 שנה ו800 שנה ויולד בנים ובנות ויחיו כל ימי כנען 10 שנים ו900 שנה וימות.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet V'haye olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Shkoyach.
Alan?
All right.
Yeah.
15 to 20.
You might want to go that way so that you don't have the cord to trip over.
We need a.
Okay.
It used to happen. It made several of these before I put that on. Yeah, this one's careful, Petria. This one's been here a long time.
Oh, my. Oh, my goodness. Esther,
Estebat,
Hillel is my father,
Hillel,
and Berenice is my mother.
Berenice,
You're gonna get a lot of this from my family.
it's fine. Eventually I'll learn it. I used to learn more quickly than I do now.
So I'm sorry, 15 to 20?
15 to 20.
They're all the same, so it's a little, okay, it's right here.
Yeah.
Right here. Take your callus, this one, right here. Come a little closer.
Right.
A little smooch.
Baruch
Baruch
Baruch et Adonai Baruch
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch La'olam Va'ed.
Good. Baruch.
Oh, I wasn't sure what.
Yep.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amin
Natan.
v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notain ha'torah.
Amen. Vayechi Mahalael Chamesh Shanim v'shishim shana Vayoled et Yared Vayechi Mahalael Acharei Holido et Yered Shloshim Shana Ushmone Meot Shana Vayoled Banim Uvanot Vayihyu Kol Yemei Mahalal Chamesh V'tish'im Shana Ushmone Meot Shana Vayamot Vayechi Yered Shtayim v'shishim shana u'me'at shana vayoled et Chanoch Vayechi Yered acharei holido et Chanoch Shmoneh me'ot shana vayoled banim uvanot vayihyu kol yemei yered shtayim v'shishim shana u'tsha me'ot shana vayamot. Okay, so kiss this one again, Ellen. Take your, there we go. It's easiest with this thing here. Where did it go? Right here. There we go. Hold on here. Take your finger. No, that's okay. Just hold on to this. Hold on to this piece here. There you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'haya
Chaye.
hayeh. Thank you. Olam atah
Tochenu.
v'tehu. Baruch atah Adonai notan ha-Torah.
Amen. You don't have to read that part. Yes,
Do
go
not
on.
remove from Smith Hall until you learn it.
Okay, good. Now you can come over here where nature is. We need cherry.
Sherry, right. Mode,
Sarah Naomi Bad
Sarah Naomi Bat,
Harav Moshe Vachana.
Harav Moshe Bechana, Hamishi,
Chi Chanoch.
Baruch Adonai Amorah.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayechi Chanoch 65 shana vayoled et Mitushalach Vayitalech Chanoch et Elohim acharei Oledo et Mitushalach Shalach. Oh my gosh, I've been saying it wrong the whole time. Acharei holido et Metushalach. Metushalach?
Yeah.
Oh no, okay, that's either way is fine. That's fine. It's Shalach in the previous verse. That's why.
That was at the end of the sentence.
Right, yeah, but it doesn't change the
No.
meaning. Since it doesn't change the
Okay.
meaning, it doesn't matter,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
It's no big deal. Happy to know what's right. That's okay. Vayitalech Hanoch et Elohim acharei holido et Metushelach shalosh me'ot shana v'yoled banim ubanot ויהי כל ימי חנוך 65 שנה ו300 שנה ויתהלך חנוך את האלוהים ואיננו כי לקח אותו אלוהים.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. All right, I'm going to call you, I guess, and then you'll call me. Or vice versa, I guess it's fine. Yeah.
I'll call you. Ya'amod Harav Yitzchak Lev and Abraham B'Shara Shvi'i.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Barach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten HaTorah. Vayechi metushevach sheva ushmonim shana ume'at shana vayoled et lamech. Vayechi metushevach acharei holido et lemech shtahim ushmonim shana ושבע מאות שנה, ויולד בנים ובנות, ויחיו כל ימי מתושלח 960 שנה, ו900 שנה, וימות, ויחי למך 280 שנה, ומעט שנה, ויולד בהם, ויקרא את שמו נוח לאמור זה ינחמנו ממעשינו ומעצבון ידינו מן האדמה אשר אררה אדוני. ויחי למך אחרי הולידו את נוח 590 שנה ו500 שנה, ויולד בנים ובנות, ויחיו כל ימי למך 70 שנה ו700 שנה, וימות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. יעמוד
משה בן זאב ורבקה.
משה בן זאב ורבקה לעלייה שביעית. Let's see here, Vayehi Noach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayechi Noach ben 500 שנה, ויולד נוח את שם, את חם ואת יפת. ויהי כי החל האדם לרוב על פני האדמה, ובנות ילדו להם. ויראו בני האלים את בנות האדם, כי טובות הנה, ויקחו להם נשים מכל אשר בחרו. ויאמר אדוני, לא ידון לא ידון רוחי ואדם לעולם, ושכגם הוא בשר. והיו ימיו 120 שנה. הנפילים היו בארץ בימים ההם, וגם אחרי כן, אשר יבואו בני האלוהים את בנות האדם, וילדו להם הם הגיבורים, אשר מעולם אנשי השם. וירא אדוני כי רבה ראה האדם בארץ, וכל יצר מחשבות ליבו רק רע כל היום. וינחם אדוני כי עשה את האדם בארץ. ויתייצב אל ליבו ויאמר אדוני אמחה את האדם אשר בראתי מעל פני האדמה מאדם הבהמה עד רמס ויד עוף השמיים כי ניחמתי כי עשיתי ונוח מצא חן בעיני אדוני.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן. יש כוח.
Okay, at this point in service, we do a mishabarak for those who are ill. So if anybody would like to name someone, just stand up. Mishabarak Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Yaakov Yivarech Yirapeh Et Kol HaCholim.
Tomorrow about Miriam.
David Cohen and Nikolai Koshi.
I have been broken to God.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Alechem Alacharemam Uratam Uchachmisitam Uchachmilkam Yishlach Lehem Meher Refuah Shlema and Hashemayim Refuah HaNefesh Refuah B'tok Sha'ar Kolei Yisrael Amen.
Amen.
May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessing and healing to all those who we have named who are ill. May the Holy Blessed One have mercy upon them and speedily restore them to perfect health, both in body and spirit, together with all others who are ill. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
And the Haftorah, the Maftir starts on verse 5, which is on page 34.
Call Lauren.
Lauren. Yamod. Lev ben Abraham, Maftir.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayad Adonai ki rabah adam ba'aretz. וכל יצר מחשבות ליבו רק רע כל היום. וינחם אדוני כי עשה את האדם בארץ ויתייצב אל ליבו. ויאמר אדוני אמחה את האדם אשר בראתי מעל פני האדמה מאדם עד בהמה עד רמס ויד עוף השמיים. כי ניחמתי, כי עשיתי, ונוח מצא חן בעיני אדוני.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Strong enough to do a hop on a tiny Torah? No, okay.
Okay, so either Norma or. All right, I invite you to rise as you are able.
Tamdu, Hagmagia, Golelet.
I've never done this before.
Lift it up. Lift it up.
Oh, I know.
Asher Moshe Lifnei Israel Piador V'yad Morasha Ve'yivateko Morasha Ve'yivateko Morasha Ve'yivateko Torah Sivan Moshe Torah 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 Sivan Moshe Torah, 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 Tzivah lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tzivah lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tzivah lanu Moshe. Torah Shabbat, Torah Shabbat. No Russia, the blessings are there going right on there.
Okay.
And Haftarah is from Isaiah 42:5 to 43:10. It's found on page 36.
Okay. Someone who I greatly respect has urged me to urge you to join me in the Haftarah blessing. I assume that's not a commentary on my vocal quality, but just an interest in participation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'dim tovim v'ratzah b'drehem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah Moshe abdo U'Yisrael amo, u'v'ndi'eh ha'emet v'tzedek. Page 36. Thus said God the Lord, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and what it brings forth, who gave breath to the people upon it and life to those who walk thereon. I, the Lord, in my grace, have summoned you, and have grasped you by the hand. I created you and appointed you, a covenant people, a light of nations, opening eyes deprived of light, rescuing prisoners from confinement, from the dungeon, those who sit in darkness. I am the Lord, that is my name. I will not yield my glory to another, nor my renown to idols. See, the things once predicted have come, and now I foretell new things. Announce to you ere they sprout up. Sing to the Lord a new song, his praise from the ends of the earth, you who sail the sea and you creatures in it, you coastlands and their inhabitants. Let the desert and its towns cry aloud, the villages where Kedar dwells. Let Selah's inhabitants shout, call out from the peaks of the mountains. Let them do honor to the Lord and tell his glory in the coastlands. The Lord goes forth like a warrior, like a fighter, he whips up his rage. He yells, he roars aloud, he charges upon his enemies. I have kept silent far too long, kept still and restrained myself. Now I will scream like a woman in labor. I will pant and I will gasp. Hills and heights will I scorch, cause all their greens to wither.
I will turn rivers into isles and dry the marshes up. I will lead the blind by a road they did not know. I will make them walk by paths they never knew. I will turn darkness before them to light, rough places into level ground. These are the promises. I will keep them without fail. Driven back and utterly shamed shall be those who trust in an image, those who say to idols, you are our gods. Listen, you who are deaf, you blind ones, look up and see. Who is so blind as my servant, so deaf as a messenger I send? Who is so blind as a chosen one, so blind as a servant of the Lord? Seeing many things, he gives no heed. With ears open, he hears nothing. The Lord desires his servant's vindication, that he may magnify and glory his teaching. Yet it is a people plundered and despoiled. All of them are trapped in holes, imprisoned in dungeons. They are given over to plunder with none to rescue them. To despoilment with none to say, give back. If only you would listen to this, attend and give heed from now on. Who was it gave Jacob over to despoilment and Israel to plunderers? Surely the Lord, against whom they sinned, in whose ways they would not walk, and whose teaching they would not obey. So he poured out wrath upon them, his anger and the fury of war. It blazed upon them all about, but they heeded not. It burned among them, but they gave it no thought. But now, thus said the Lord, who created you, O Jacob? Who formed you, O Israel? Fear not, for I will redeem you. I have singled you out by name. You are mine. When you pass through water, I will be with you. Through streams, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be scorched. Through flame, it shall not burn you. For I, the Lord, am your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I give Egypt as a ransom for you, Ethiopia and Saba in exchange for you. Because you are precious to me and honored, I love you. I give men in exchange for you and peoples in your stead. Fear not, for I am with you. I will bring your folk from the east, will gather you out of the west. I will say to the north, give back, and to the south, do not withhold. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the end of the earth, all who are linked to my name, whom I have created, formed and made for my glory, setting free that people, blind though it has eyes and deaf though it has ears. All the nations assemble as one, the peoples gather. Who among them declare this? Foretold to us the things that have happened. Let them produce their witnesses and be vindicated, that men, hearing them, may say, it is true. My witnesses are you, declares the Lord, my servant whom I have chosen, to the end that you may take thought and believe in me and understand that I am he. Before me no God was formed, and after me none shall exist. Wait a minute. Okay, so blessings after the Haftorah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol ha'olamim, tzadik b'kol hadorot, ha'el ha'neman ha'omer v'oseh, ha'medaber u'mekayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu, v'mena'anim devarecha, v'davar echad midvarecha, Achor lo yashuv rekam, ki el melech ne'aman v'rachman atah, baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'ne'aman b'kol devarav. Rachem al Tzion, ki hi'etenu, v'le'uvot nefesh toshia, b'mhera v'yameinu. Baruch atah Adonai, misameach Tzion b'vaneha. Samkeinu Adonai Eloheinu Be'eliyahu Hanavi Avadecha U'Malkut Beit David Mishrecha Bimhera Yavo V'Yagel L'Deinu Al Kiso Lo Yeshev Zar V'Lo Yinchalu Ot Acharei Im Kavodo Ki V'Shem Kachacha Nishpata Lo Shelo yikbeh neiro leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Magen David.
al haTorah, v'al ha'avodah, v'al ha'nevim, v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, l'kedusha v'lemenucha, l'kavod u'l'tafaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, anaknu modim la, umvrakim elcha. Yitbarak simcha b'fi kol chai, tamid le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat.
Wow. I had a book, but I don't know. Oh, there it's stuck.
All right, so Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom to everyone who's on Zoom. And that's fine, you could, I have this one. Shabbat Shalom to everyone who's on Zoom, everyone who's on YouTube, everyone who's, I don't know, somewhere else. I'm hoping that we will figure out both the technology and the schedule, and we will get to a place where we can know where we're meeting and when and so on and so forth, but we'll figure it all out. So I thought this morning we would, I'm going to switch this microphone so that when people are talking in the kahal, ideally it will pick up. And so apologies to people on Zoom. I know this room is hard to hear when you're not in it. The YouTube and the Zoom are not easy. This room is very, very resonant. And so this is communal business, but it's not very Shabbos-lich, but maybe what I'll do is I'll talk with people in the student conservative meeting, and we can switch rooms for now. If we're going to have a small number of people, and we're going to be doing Zooming, maybe we can meet downstairs where there's carpet and furniture, and it'll be a less resonant space, and the students will have more room to spread out. So we'll talk about that. But I wanted to just start with the Haftarah, which I love at the very beginning. Thus, this is from Isaiah, right? And it's interesting that we read from the book of Isaiah through all of the Haftarot of consolation is leading up to the high holidays. We've come now finally to the other side of the high holidays. We've begun the Torah again, but one of those pieces of continuity, we're still with Isaiah. Right? So thus said the Lord, God, the Lord Ha'el Adonai, the Borei Hashamayim, the Notehem, right, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and what it brings forth, who gave breath to the people upon it, and life to those who walk thereon, and so on and so forth. So just this reminder, right, that God is in the rabbinic and Jewish imagination, the imagination of Isaiah, right, is ever creating, right? This is not a one-time thing. This is not the watchmaker, right, who makes the watch and then it just runs in perpetuity, right? This is God constantly being involved in these things. Even though this in English, this is in past tense, right? But in Hebrew, it's all participles. It's all continuous action. All right, and then so I thought, just after pointing that out, I thought I would just open the floor for people who would like to make comments. And yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Because it says in the Torah, those of you who are deaf, you should hear. I really wanted to point out, and I know I've mentioned this in the past, that in this Haftorah, we have a remarkable expression of how God, who's so often thought of in patriarchal terms, is that female imagery is used as necessity to capture God's nature. And it's pretty remarkable, and the Eitz Chaim doesn't do a very good job of translating it, a good enough job of translating. I'm talking about this is on page 37, verse 14. Acharish atapek. Hechashiti me'olam acharish atapek. Ki yolada efa esem ve'eshaf yachad. The prophet is saying that the Israelites, the temple was destroyed, they're exiled in Babylonia. They've really felt that God hasn't been there for them. And it describes God as I have been silent and I have been holding back. Etapek means holding back. Like a woman. Now I will scream like a woman in labor. I will pant and I will gasp. God is going to explode with some new birth of something that is going to be important for Israel, and God has been holding back all this time. So that's a remarkable image, and it also kind of corresponds to a mention in the Ha'azinu, the next to last portion in the book of Deuteronomy, where it said, where Moses's poem says that Israel has forgotten God, Matishkach el mecholalecha, and you have forgotten the God who labored to bring you forth as a nation. So I just wanted to point that out. These are remarkable images, and especially in this Haftorah from the latter part of Isaiah.
Thank you. But it makes sense in terms of the Creator God, right? That the Creator God would not only be man. Right? And also, it's interesting that that the translation that's here is different than the translation in the stone Chumash, which I have in front of me. The second part, the last part of that verse is different. It starts very similar. I have long kept silent, been quiet, restrained myself. I will cry out like a woman giving birth. I will both lay waste and swallow up.
Oh, there's that too.
Yeah. There's nothing like the rage of a woman in labor. All right. But yes, no, the deaf shall hear, right? So it's a good one. Our other thoughts about, I mean, we don't have to belabor the Haftarah. We can also talk about the portion. I'm sorry?
I said, are you going to be seeing anything on Zoom as a comment?
Oh, let's see if anyone put anything in the chat. Let's see here. Feel free to put stuff in the chat if you'd like. I don't see anything in the chat. But anyway, feel free to put stuff in the chat if you'd like. Well, I thought I'm always interested by Enoch, right? This is on page 31, right? In this list of these men, you know, having. Oh, do you want to say something, Sherry? No, go ahead. I was just wanting to ask a question. So go ahead. But I think Jim had the right idea to give light into the blind or hearing to the deaf. If you stay over there, I'm going to have to repeat what you said. All right, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that we did.
Okay.
I was looking at the last line here in chapter, let's see now. But anyway, we're where it says that, the ways of man are evil all the time.
Right.
So,
Yeah, no, right. So that's the other very interesting. Again, following first of all, following Yom Kippur, right? And
I just want to make my point.
say again.
I just wanted to make my point before I forget it.
I thought you just wanted to point that out.
Hillary's Clinton's comment a long time ago that God is evolved. And this makes me feel like God is such a baby. I mean, they do one wrong thing and it's like, you know, they're evil for all the, all the.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, James Kirkle, who also talked about the evolution of the concept of God. And we really see how primitive God is here, this time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's a great point that, when we come back to the beginning, right, we not only come back to the creation of the world, but in a sense, right, also the creation of God. And everyone who's been a parent recognizes that it's not just the children who grow up in the context of parenting. And so Sherry makes the point based on both on Hillary Putnam and on James Kugel's distinct but related points, right? That God in the Bible, and this is true of the whole Bible, but certainly of the Torah, but more, I think it's even more true in the entire Bible, right? That there's God develops over time, God changes over time, God in a sense grows up over time. Right, and then also that our idea, this is James Kugel's idea, right, that our idea of God evolves, and we see that evolution in part of the Torah, and we can see that even in one of the weirdest parts of the Torah ever, right, which is right above the part that you mentioned, Sherry, right, that the Nephilim appeared on the land when divine beings cohabited with the daughters of man and bore them offspring. Right? Wait, is this suddenly Greek mythology? It's suddenly Rick Riordan? If you don't know Rick Riordan, that's probably from parents of who had kids my age. He wrote this series of books about Percy Jackson, who it turns out was sort of like a Harry Potter kind of a character, but instead of being a wizard, he was a demigod. He was the son of I think of Poseidon. But anyway, so this idea, right, that these immortal beings would mate with human women and make these demigods. Wait, this is Torah? how is this possible? And
Torah had to account for it. It had to make mention of it, because everyone knew about it.
Right. I mean, so that's one way of looking at it, right? Is that the Torah is reacting to the world around it, which has this idea of the permeability of the distance between divine beings and humans, right? Or it could just be that this is I mean, the way I like to think of it is less that and more just that in our tradition we don't like to throw things away, right? We have good traditions. They're sacred, and we don't want to cancel them, so to speak, right? We keep them even though they're not necessarily comfortable to have. So just one second. I see Nan and I see Maury. I just want to say one other thing, right? That this idea of the wickedness of people and how great it is, right? Is that it is in part, right? It is sort of every parent's realization, maybe nightmare, to realize that my darling child has all this evil in them, right? Or maybe not evil, right? But all of these sort of and I think what's important here is this word yetzer, right? The whole yetzer machshavot libo, right? That the impulse, right, or the what does it say? Every plan devised. I don't know where they come up with that. But the inclination, right, of their thoughts, right, and I think where God makes a mistake here, if I can be so bold, right, is to say rock kol hayom, right, that the mistake here that God makes, or I mean, maybe God doesn't make a mistake about these particular people. Maybe this is like an earlier version, right? It's an earlier model of humans, right, where indeed. Yetzer machshavot libo, right, really was rock kol hayom, right? Maybe in that earlier, in the Mark 1, it really was a disaster. Everything was bad. There was no good. And so God had to wipe it out and make version 2. We don't tend to think along those lines, right? So I think it's easier for us to think along the lines of, well, there was a lack of vision. right? And this emphasis, right, on God seeing, and then God saying, right? That often when we talk too much and we don't listen enough, we don't see enough, right? This can lead to some real trouble. Okay, so Maury and then Nan.
Somewhat of a counter way of looking at the variety of ways that God's described is not evolutionary, because if you want the most boldly mythological versions of God, you look at Kabbalah out of Safed, which is a whole lot later than early Bible, and it's just, and early Psalms has some Psalms are early, and they also are, have more quote advanced, so that it's this sort of spray of all different things, many of them all at the same time.
Right.
And it's not that we outgrow them. That would be being supersessionist to ourselves, which, since there are other people who are supersessionist to us, is not really necessary.
Right. No, I think that's a really, really good point. And I think that we can, and people do, impose a narrative of human development on God, right, in the Bible. Not sure actually how helpful that is, right? Not only because the Bible doesn't always behave the way we want it to, right? Even if we're not talking about Kabbalah, right? Even if we just talk about the Bible itself, right? That is, as Maury points out, right? There's all different understandings of God all throughout the Bible, right? We can sort of maybe we can make generalizations about Torah versus Nevi'im versus later stuff, but still it's very, 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 but I also think that that's true of people, right? We do have different understandings of God at different points in their life. Very few of us are theologically consistent all the time. And most of those people, are not people you necessarily want to hang out with. So, all right, go ahead, Sherry.
Yeah, well, this is another point, but you can look at this story intensively, looking at this one story. But if you look at it extensively, the way Sarna would suggest, then you're looking at this is going to be later the basis for receiving the Torah, because man needs to have laws to modulate his behavior.
Right. Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's, I think one of the things that is both liberating and sort of destructive about the what we used to be called the higher biblical criticism, right, is that it allows us to sort of take apart various strands of the Bible, but it often in a sort of odd way doesn't allow us to see the larger movements in the Bible, right? So we don't even have to wait to get to the Torah, right? We have the Noahide laws, right, in the very next portion, right? Part of that is that's sort of God's Mark II, so to speak. We'll remake humanity, but let's give them some guidelines this time. Go ahead, Anne.
Sure. And a friend gave me a term for Jewish practice. We're liturgical patrons.
Yes.
I think it is a major strength. Well, let's keep this and this, but I'm not done.
Right. So Nan is saying that the Jews are liturgical pack rats. We could say packer, we could say hoarder, right? We could say just conservators, right? And there is always, as everyone knows, right, that the books get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then we have to do some pruning, right? And there's a big argument: what do we keep in? What do we keep out? Right. Well, I mean, the reality is, right, is we do prune, and trying to figure out what from a liturgical standpoint we're going to keep in. Right. Obviously, the Bible was sort of set. And Talmud was closed, and so on and so forth. So we add to those things as commentary, right? The Siddur has never really been set, right? It's in constant flux.
I had a conversation with a friend this week who was brought up Catholic and went to
Catholic private school who's been watching Shtisel. And he said, I don't understand you, meaning us.
The Jews.
We have Jesus. He spoke, that's it. We're done. I said the letters to the Ephesians, and he said, yeah, but it's done. There's no, I said, you have saints. He said, these men study Talmud all day long. What is it with you people?
Always more to learn. Always more to learn. All right. Any other thoughts? Yeah. No. I just am I'm always taken in when we read Bereshit, especially this last little bit of it. Right? Is that the beginning? It starts so well. It's so wonderful. Right? Everything is in order. Right? It's all grouped every day. Everything is perfect. Right? But of course, there's no in that sort of initial chapter of Genesis, right? There's no conflict, there's no death, right? There's no life for real, right? And as soon as we introduce, I don't think so much, right, that it's a matter of introducing humans. It's just that when we introduce humans, right, we have this sort of some sort of a consciousness of how complicated things really are in the world. So anyway, that's us. We're complicated. So, all right. So we will turn now back to our. See, we edited it. We cut it down. Not everything is in it. Yes, exactly. All right, so we will turn to page 72. I invite you to rise for prayer for the state of Israel. Please, God, bless the state of Israel, guard it with your abundant love, and spread over it the shelter of your peace. Send forth your light and your truth to its leaders and judges, to its representatives, and to those who defend it. Strengthen them and guide them with good counsel through your presence, so they may walk in the way of justice, freedom, and integrity. Give peace to the land, and lasting joy to all its inhabitants. And let us say amen. Page 75. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and our mothers Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless all the people of this congregation and all other congregations, them and all their dear ones. May God's blessings also be vouchsafed unto those who dedicate and maintain synagogues, unto those who enter therein to worship and to study, unto those who provide lamps for illumination and wine for kiddush and salah, and unto those who provide bread for the wayfarer and tzedakah for the poor. May God also bless those who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the community and to the rebuilding of Eretz Israel. May the Holy Blessed One remove from them all sickness, preserve them in health, forgive their sins, prosper the work of their hands, and bestow blessings upon them, along with all Israel, their brothers and sisters, and let us say amen. Okay, say page 77. Our God and God of our fathers and mothers, we invoke thy blessing upon our country, on the government of this republic, the president of these United States, and all who exercise just and rightful authority. Do thou instruct them out of thy law, that they may administer all affairs of state in justice and equity, that peace and security, happiness and prosperity, right and freedom may forever abide among us. Unite all the inhabitants of our country, whatever their origin and creed, into a bond of true kinship, to banish hatred and bigotry, and to safeguard the ideals and free institutions which are our country's glory. May this land under thy providence be an influence for good throughout the world, uniting humanity in peace and freedom, and helping to fulfill the vision of thy prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore, for all humanity, both great and small, shall know me. We definitely have to announce the new moon. 1 second to figure out what it is. All right, so Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan is going to be on Thursday. Page 80. Yehi Ratzon Mechanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotinu v'imotenu שתחדש עלינו את החודש הזה לטובה ולברכה ותיתן לנו חיים ארוכים, חיים של שלום, חיים של טובה, חיים של ברכה, חיים של פרנסה, חיים של חילוץ עצמות, חיים שיש בהם יראת שמיים ויראת חטא, חיים שאין בהם בושה וכלימה, חיים של עושר וכבוד, חיים שתהייבנו אהבת תורה ויראת שמיים, חיים שימלאו משאלות ליבנו לטובה. אמן. סלע. מי שעשה ניסים לאבותינו ולאמותינו וגאל אותם מעבדות לחירות, הוא יגאל אותנו בקרוב יקבץ נדחינו בכנפות הארץ. חברים כל ישראל ונאמר אמן. ראש חודש חשוון יהיה ביום חמישי הבא עלינו ועל כל ישראל לטובה. יחדשנו הקדוש ברוך הוא עלינו ועל כל עמו בית ישראל לחיים ושלום, לששון ולשמחה, לישועה ולנחמה, ונאמר amen. All right, page 84. Petra, I invite you to come up and walk around with the Torah if you feel comfortable doing so. And I'll walk around and tell you when to walk and when not to walk. Page 84. Yehallelu et Shem Adonai ki nisgav shemo levado hodo al eretz v'shamayim vayarem keren li'amo tila lecho chasidav livnei Yisrael am karovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah, mizmor leDavid, Amul Adonai, Amul Adonai, Amul Adonai, Kadosh Shemo, Yishtachu Adonai leHakodesh, Adonai Elohim, Kavod Yirim, Adonai Amayim Rabim, Adonai. Page 88, no, sorry, page 90. נתתי להם תורתי אל תעזבו את כהניי והזימה וצאן והממוסה דרכיה דרכנו בכל תיבותיה שיבנו אליך ונשמע קדש קדש אלוהינו קדש אלוהינו So we did not have an opportunity to do the Kedusha earlier. So we'll do a quick Musaf Kedusha. Here, I hope that we'll maintain a minyan. We'll start on page 92. Feel free, of course, to use, I hope you all just stick around. It won't bite you, I promise. But feel free to use, there's plenty of texts that you can use if you're not comfortable with the ones that are traditional. Ikedavi Gashmi Rabba, Yamadi Rakirte, Yalef Mahokute, Mechayekon Minakon, Mukayede Hobeg Israel, but the love is not a lead, Nabru Ahame, Yeheshme Rabba, Yamamu Maya, Nikara, Nikarati Shabbat, Nikari Pramami, Nasiri, Tadari, Tamiko, Shmiri Purisha, Miracle Ela, Pumic, Shmiri Patis, the Fata Venetamata, Tamirami, Mahadi Maru. Amen. Amatishim Shem HaKodesh, Kakatuva Yaniyecha, Vekara Zekazeli Ama. Dosh, Ratzavod, Navo, Haaretz Kevodo, Kevodo, Mahale, Olam, Vayim, Kuntivodo, Kevodo, Mahale, Olam, Vayim, Kuntivodo, Kevodo, Mahale, Megarim, Kevodo, Mesharet HaShavarim, Shovarim, Zela, Zela, Kuntivodo, Mesharet HaShavarim, Shovarim, Zela, Zela, Kuntivodo, Numatam, Arukumeru. Baruch Adonai Yekomo, Yekomo V'Barakamin V'Yachonam V'Yechadim Shemo, Erev Avot V'Koyot V'Madia Shema Omrim, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Hu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Umoshienu, Ve'uvehu, Ve'yashmi'enu, Barachama, Shei, Ve'enei Kochai, Ve'u Yashmi'enu, Barachama, Shei, Ve'enei Kochai, Yot Lachem Elohim. Here Adonai Elohim, Divrei Kodesh Katuv Lemor. Adonai Tzion, Adonai, Hallelujah. Adonai Nagidun Lacholanet, Petzikim Kedusha Fanatish, V'Shivim Chalon Kilon Shlem Ba'er. Yemagado V'Kadosh Atavalo Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Page 127. Sabenu vituvi, sama sabenu mituve, sama nafshinu vishute. Sabenu mituvecha, samach nafshinu Yeshuatecha, sab'inu mituvecha, samach nafshinu Yeshuatecha, v'tzahir libenu yovdecha, Page 128. Thank you everyone for hanging in. If the dog is going to la shemer kudisha, when they put a alien in for breakfast on the shirt, I just step up and then I come to the name on the other name, amen. The box for the book on the boy said, I put down upon this name, amen. Yeah, shalom, and shalom, Chaim, and the boy said, amen. Go say shalom, remember who has said shalom. Then the boy said, the boy said, amen. Page 130. En Keloheinu, en Kadonenu, en Kemalkeinu, en Kemoshienu, non como nuestro Dios, non como nuestro Señor, non como nuestro Rey, non como nuestro Salvador. Mi Eloheinu, mi Kadonenu, mi Kemalkeinu, mi Kemoshienu, quien como nuestro Dios, quien como nuestro Señor, quien como nuestro Rey, quien como nuestro Salvador. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu, lo haremos nuestro Dios, lo haremos nuestro Señor, lo haremos nuestro Rey, lo haremos nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, bendito nuestro Dios, bendito nuestro Señor, bendito nuestro Rey, bendito nuestro Salvador. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, tú sos nuestro Dios. Tú sos nuestro Señor, tú sos nuestro Rey, tú sos nuestro Salvador. Page 132. Aleinu b'shadech Adonai, v'ateku b'malei Bereshit, shelo asam v'goyei ha'aretzo, v'lo samanu k'nishlochu b'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, v'gohor aleinu k'vol ha'olam, v'anachnu korahim, משתחווים מודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נותן שמיים ויסד הארץ, ומשה ויתרו לשמיים עמה, ושכינת וזו, ודוב מרומים, הוא אלוהינו, ואלוקינו וסעודתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום ישבות ערב המלך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת לאדו. למלכות שלך היא ולנערת תמלוך בכבוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר וחיי אדוני מלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יחיה אדוני ושמו אחד. Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 136. Anyone commemorating a yahrzeit? Good morning. All right, please rise if it's your custom to rise to say Kaddish for those who have done the same for them. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'yomad divrei chirutei, v'yomlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'imechon, uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kachi, v'imramen. Yehei shnei charab v'varach, v'alam v'olei amayah. Yiparach v'yishtabach, v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalav, shemei d'kudsha. V'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alama v'imramen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemayim, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imramen. Oseh shalom v'imramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol shv'tevel v'imramen. All right, so announcements. Jim. We kept Jim from announcements on.
I'm like a woman in labor.
We kept Jim away from the announcements on Tuesday. I thought he might pop. It was very sad.
All right, so
Julia actually said, "Oi, Jim, it seems like he really, like, without the announcements, it's really not a fun."
I had an exciting new announcement that I was really eager to
got it. Okay.
First of all, and I've got to remember myself here on this. Our book group is meeting on, first of all, on the next Schmooze and Learn is on October 17th. And Barry Holtz, a professor from the Jewish Theological Seminary, is going to talk about a subject that he knows a great deal about, Rabbi Akiva. So that's our next Schmooze and Learn on the 17th at 7:30. And then we have our book group that's meeting on October 24th at 7:30. Now, we're going to be talking about a book by a youngish man by the name of Menachem Kaiser. It's called Plunder, a memoir of family property and Nazi treasure. And I have to tell you, this is a very remarkable memoir. Sherry and I have been both reading and talking and yapping about it all the time. It's really amazing. And Menachem Kaiser is going to be present when our book group gets together. So it would be a very interesting opportunity for anyone to come and talk to an author and read a very interesting and remarkable book. Finally, on November 21st, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, we have our next Schmooze and Learn. And it's my pleasure I had nothing to do with this. This person over here is responsible. It's my pleasure to announce that a longtime friend of our Minyan, John Sears, is going to be talking about Eleanor Roosevelt and the Jews. He's going to tell us this. He's written a book on this topic. He was a researcher for many years at the Franklin Roosevelt and Eleanor Roosevelt archives in Hyde Park, New York. He's written a book on this topic. I've read this book. It's a really a very full account of a remarkable woman and her relationship to issues involving Jews over time. And that's on the 21st at 7:30, John Sears. So that's what's coming up.
Thank you, Jim. Any other announcements? I mean, not that you can compete. All right, tomorrow there is a commemoration of Babi Yar, the 80th anniversary of the terrible massacre in Kiev. That will be on Zoom. You can go to the Minion Bulletin and register for that Zoom program. The Shah Karlbach will be there. The guy who runs the Holocaust Museum in Dnipropetrovsk, Ukraine, will be there, as will the people from the Israeli consulate. So it'll be quite an interesting program. And I will be there with Julia, and I will be there doing a few prayers. So that starts at 2 o'clock. It's sponsored by Action for Post-Soviet Jewry and Center McCore. All right, page 140. Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra v'yitnasa b'chefzo kol Azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kifot kol levado yimloch nora v'hu haya v'hu hoveh v'hu yihyeh v'tifara v'hu echad v'yen sheni l'hamshir lo l'achbira v'li reshit v'li tachlit v'lo ha'oz v'ha'misra v'hu eli v'chai go'ali v'tzorchev li b'yetzara v'hu nisi u'manos li manat kosi b'yom ekra b'yado afkid ruchi v'yeti shan b'ya'icha v'imruchi geviyati Adonai li v'lo iro. All right. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom for leading us in Shachri today, or leading me and Maury and Ellen in Shachri. So it looks like we could have a little something. Yeah, I didn't ask about what the questions.
Oh, Google it that.
No, I didn't know, I was just, if they brought $5 of whiskey, it didn't disappear. So, the whiskey is still there. So, maybe, 40% alcohol.
It's just aging for.
Right.
It's
Just gonna say that.
It's fun.
Look, thanks for that. Right. And I guess we could bring, when we're talking, maybe we could bring, if people are so moved in 2 weeks. I mean, who knows what the weather will be like, but if we bring things, maybe we'll start by bringing pictures. Don't bring food in your kitchen, just bring whatever, or a little And then, you can sort of figure out where his practice goes from there. I don't know, when the weather gets bad, we're not supposed to take our masks off in here, so, I mean, for a minute to take a sip, I mean, it's from tea and eat inside the house.
So maybe people should bring things, free wraps, like little bags of things, so you don't have to, I have, I'm very kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, whatever people are comfortable with, I mean, I have no problem by myself, like, it's viral, but people are,
There's, sometimes, yes. Usual, let's see. And it's, not sports, different kinds of plays, all
all right, well, thank you everyone for making the meeting, appreciate everyone hanging out and making it possible for us to do the service. Glad you got here, we showed up.
Until the end of the tour service, we have a meeting. I think we could have a meeting while I was walking down.
That's right, we would have been right. That's a great question, like, I can have a cell phone. You can have Zoom on a cell phone, we can see you as you're walking down the street.
That's the bus.
Right, that's the problem, and the bus is more important than
You're also. Yes, without it, we can have a conversation. So we're. Well, see what. Okay.
Well, she's, that was before now, and that was driving those force. So what I say?
So this is different because this is like, they want power, then they need to sustain. You know,
So just discuss, just in an email conversation.
Yeah.
What people will be willing to be, what they should be prepared. Just to throw it in. So it's a single story. And we'll show up.
Well, that's what we did. We did,
Shopper, there was tomorrow, it was the fastest shopper. Because he basically, he does the policy. And it really.
it's a problem for, it's a problem, you know, like, if you source it, it's like, you see where someone like you can actually, you know, they throw you just balls right there. Which was the customer, you know.
But so.
It's all about that. But I think we can do less of the, we just read it faster.
That's all show. And we're basically showing.
Right. But I think. Here, sorry.
You know, if you put that out, this is our schedule.
Right.
And people would show up or not. You know, if people would know that. If you don't make the first bar.
Right. We really need a meeting at 10, please show up by 10. Very late. You always show up, it's a big difference, it's nice, so it's not, you know,
There's certain guidelines.
Yeah.
Or aspirations.
Yes, it is.
My word.
Yeah.
It's true, it is sort of a. Doing ourselves fewer.
I mean, really, it's high. I can't say it another way. Since I've already established the answer to this part of the meeting. But yeah, we got the yeah, supposedly you're not supposed to have someone who's had an idea to talk about it. But you have people that will on this, so that's all. Age is really the answer.
And also can get it on.
Oh, right. That means that we send out of the room. All right, see you soon.